Hello and good evening. Welcome to Back to School Night here at West Park High School. My name is Danielle Bulljohn, and I am an English teacher here. I teach CP English 10 along with the blocked English 10 with AP Euro. I did want to review before we get started tonight some of the things that we believe. Here in our English department, we believe that all students want to learn and grow. Part of this is to help them become more independent because students need to learn to make real choices and decisions in what they learn. That is going to be a skill that they will need for success, not only in college, but also in the career path that they choose. We ask students to spend the bulk of their time in English actively reading. We also have them write, discuss, research, and also spend time creating. It's sort of like learning a new sport. The way you become better at it is by practicing the skills that you need to be successful in that sport. In English, reading, writing, discussing, researching, and creating are the skills that we're trying to help students improve. We also really focus on valuing our students. One way that we show them how we value them is by asking them to take on tasks that we know will push them to grow. I also respond to their work with authentic feedback as they are working through the different skills that we are focusing on. For example, students are writing narratives right now. As I've been watching them process and work through their narratives, I'm leaving feedback in Google Classroom, in one-on-one conferences, and also in Hub Time. In addition, students are valued by extending grace and understanding. However, I still have high expectations for what students are able to accomplish. I truly believe that every student is capable of learning and growing and improving their writing skills. We also are focusing on book clubs and writing narratives at this time. Our major learning goals include being able to explore a wide variety of literature and share our own stories. As you can see on this slide, we have a few individuals who have inspired us as a department. One woman, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, is an author. She talks about how many stories matter. Stories have been used to dispossess and to malign, but stories can also be used to empower and to humanize. Stories can break the dignity of a people, but stories can also repair that broken dignity. We are starting with stories here, not only telling our own stories, but reading other people's stories and having discussions about those stories in our book clubs. Jason Reynolds says, "The truth is, my life was made infinitely more difficult because I didn't read any books. But I didn't read any books. That's my story. That's my truth." Part of our hope with book clubs is to help your student become and foster their love of reading. We know that students come to us with many different experiences, whether that is a love of reading or hate. So the hope is that we can foster that love with your students. Another individual who has inspired us is Penny Kittle, who is an author and teacher. She says, "I believe each of my students must craft an individual reading life of challenge, whim, curiosity, and hunger. We take that to heart in the English department." Other planned units of study include independent reading, inform and explain writing, argumentative writing, literary essay, literary reviews, and we end our units with portfolios of growth. This will allow students to reflect on and recognize how they've grown as a student. Speaking specifically about book clubs are an opportunity for students to share their thoughts, to build community with one another, especially in this time right now with COVID. Building community is so important. The goal of book clubs is to give students opportunities to share their opinions, to discuss the great stories that they're reading, and also enrich their reading by hearing thoughts or reactions of others. Oftentimes when we read something, if we talk about it with someone else, we might see something that we may not have recognized on our own. We are also practicing the art of speaking articulately and actively listening to others. Whether you go to college, whether you go right into a skill or a career after high school, there is no life path that does not require the ability for you to work effectively with others. When it comes to narrative writing, some of you might be asking, well, why are we focusing on narratives now? Stories are an incredibly powerful way to engage our students. The skills that we develop in our narrative writing will make informational and argument writing better. If we flip it and we start with informational and then argument and then move into narrative, we don't have the same impact. The skills that we're working on right now with narrative directly apply to what we would write about in informational and argumentative writing. So what will we do? We will get to choose which stories to tell. Students have free choice. We also will study great examples of narrative writing to better understand different craft moves. We encourage our students to consider and apply these craft moves to their own writing. We will practice giving and using feedback to improve our writing. Different ways that we could apply this would be whole class, peer share, self-reflection or self-feedback, or practicing giving feedback to the teacher. We will also practice reflecting on our learning and mastery of skills. This is where portfolios come into play. We will also practice and use in our stories the craft moves that make great story writing. There are many benefits to this approach. We are hoping to highlight what are called soft skills. These are the non-technical skills that relate to how you work. Some of these skills include problem solving, critical thinking, influencing, creativity, being resourceful, having interpersonal skills, and managing time. Oftentimes, it's considered nice to have, but now with employers, that's changed a little bit, and they are considered now the must-haves. Our world is constantly changing, and we need our students to have the ability to adapt, no matter where they end up in their life. According to a Gallup poll, while 96% of university leaders believe they're preparing students for the workplace, only 11% of business leaders strongly agree. 91% of employers agree that to achieve success at their companies, a candidate's demonstrated capacity to think critically, communicate clearly, and solve complex programs is more important than their undergraduate major. This highlights the importance of these, quote, soft skills. Our grading philosophy is one where we will support students to become expert learners. Grades will be updated on a regular basis because it is an important part of communicating progression in the course. Grades in this course are weighted as follows. Daily practice or skill building. This is where students read and write daily and annotate and take notes. Evidence of this practice will be shown in their notebooks, in the conferences where we meet with students, and also through regular check-ins. This accounts for 20% of a student's grade. Best draft writing will focus on a skill development through a workshop model. This means every single day, or most days, we are working on skills related to our writing. Students look at expert writers' craft and then intentionally weave new skills into the genre-specific writing they're working on. Students will write narrative, informational, and argumentative pieces. Finally, their best drafts will be evaluated for mastery of targeted genre-specific skills. Best drafts account for 40% of a student's grade. Reading tasks, discussions, and presentations. Readers will learn to set and meet goals. They also are going to develop their stamina because we want them to read longer. We want them to see growth. We want them to choose a challenge and read more complex works with greater fluency. Students also will demonstrate their progress through summative assessments, such as quarter reflections of their book choices, book reviews, and book club discussions. 40% of their grade is weighted with reading tasks, discussions, and presentations. The grade breakdown is as follows. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89.9 is a B, 70 to 79.9 is a C, 60 to 69.9 is a D, and 50 to 59 is an F. Here at West Park, we ask you to partner with us. It's through this collaboration between the student, the family, and the teacher that students will have what they need to thrive. Ways that you can engage and ways that you can collaborate include engaging with your student regularly about what you're reading and writing. Ask them questions. What's easy for them? What's challenging? Why? What are their current goals? Well, what are you enjoying in class and what are you getting better at? Or asking, how is this making you more prepared for college? Or how is this making you more prepared for a career or life in general? Also, keep an eye, when possible, on your students' device usage and help them learn to manage a healthy screen life. As a parent myself, I understand how difficult this is right now. But we still ask you to do the best that you can. That's going to look a little different for every family and every person. Build your students' reading, writing, and speaking confidence. Engage with them. Ask them those questions that I read earlier. Provide them with additional information. Help them learn how to look it up themselves. Encourage your student to advocate for their needs. However, know that you can always reach out to your English teacher at any time, whether it's a question or an idea. I'll tell you, I'm all ears, and I always love hearing from parents. The last important way that you can work with us is helping your student make connections between what they're reading and writing in school to what they will read and write in college or their career path or even beyond. In general, homework is as follows. Read for at least 20 minutes outside of class each day. I would always prefer more, and I would always encourage students to gather more books to read beyond what I've assigned or beyond what they've chosen for themselves. They also should be working on their draft for their current writing piece every single day. Even if it's just for a few minutes, they should be taking the time to think about what they're writing. Students will also work on what they need to work on to be ready for the next class. They might need to go back and add on to their notebook seed. Students might need to go back and review the mini lesson of the day and add in some notes to their notebook. This is going to look a little bit different for each student. The last idea that I wanted to make sure I covered is what is called Hub. We do have support options outside of class time. I know that right now, distance learning or dynamic learning is so new. We have what is called Hub, which is Tuesday through Friday from 1:45 to 3 p.m. This is a time for your student to get support. If your student wants extra support to challenge themselves, or if they want to ask a question, or share a concern, or clarify an assignment, or if they want additional teaching on a concept from class, they should come to Hub. I have posted my Hub link in Google Classroom in the stream. It's a special link just for Hub time. It's not posted in HomeLink. Please email me with any questions, ideas, concerns, or if clarification is ever needed. Please know that I am so excited for this year. I genuinely believe that this is going to be your students' best year in English yet. My email is B as in boy, uljan@rjuhsd.us if you need to get a hold of me, D. Buljan. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening.